Oh my God, I wish I had that music when I had been in St. Martin. I would have been moving and grooving. People wouldn't have known what that was going down the beach.
I missed that on the Ray and Zach show all week. It just all of a sudden you're live and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, here we are. I need to get revved up.
Yeah, me too. I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
So we are talking we're talking EVs, of course, but
Yeah.
Chevy Bolt, right? The big news out of GM this morning that made me change our entire show out of nowhere. GM discontinuing the Chevy Bolt and Volt, which they already discontinued. But yeah, so no more affordable EV out of GM.
Yeah. So basically, take your Bolt and go home.
Yeah.
And I see a comment that according to Mr. C, General Motors was losing upwards of $9,000 on each Bolt that they sold. So what's that old saying? Well, how do you make profit doing that? Well, you make it up in volume. So if that's the case, then yes, I understand why they might want to do that. But you and I were just talking, they went through that entire LG battery situation where they had a stop sale for quite some time, had to replace everybody's batteries. Okay. Then they made a big deal about this year lowering the price of the Bolt by $6,000. Okay. So it could be an affordable sub $30,000 electric vehicle. And then 6 months in, they say, the hell with this.
And what are they going to replace in that plant? Right? Is there going to be another affordable EV?
Oh, I'm sure, since there's no such thing apparently. What will the affordable EVs be that they will be building instead of the Bolt?
They will be building the GMC Sierra and the what was it? I just had it.
And what, the Silverado electric?
Yes, the Silverado electric. Yes.
And what are the starting
GM
prices?
Sierra electric, by the way.
Yes. So, and what are the starting prices of those vehicles, may I ask? Are they like in the low 50s?
No. They're the, I think the starting price that you can't get is in the 60s, but I think they're pricing in the 80s. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So in other words, for every 3 Bolts that they could produce and lose $9,000 per Bolt, they can produce 1 electric pickup truck and maybe make a few dollars. Is that the theory here?
Yeah, I mean, as Susanna says, maybe the Equinox. We have debates between Justin and I on whether this is or is not going to be an affordable EV coming in where they expect it to be. I think we both sort of think it's going to end up in the 50s, which would not be what they're saying it's supposed to be. But they want the J-Max says it. The Blazer, the Equinox is supposed to be 30,000. The Blazer, I think, high 30s. I don't see either of them hitting those marks. We'll see. If the Bolt really was losing 9,000, as Mr. C says, I hadn't seen that number, but I take his word for it. I think it's somewhat ironic, as that is the profit that Tesla makes on their vehicles.
Yeah. So the Model, what is the Model 3? That's the least expensive Tesla at the moment.
Yes. $39,900.
That's the base price. So it's and does that include the transportation or just or freight, whatever it is? So is it $39,900 or is it $39,900 plus freight?
Plus destination, yeah.
Okay, so it's like basically a $41,000 entry level EV that qualifies for $3,750.
That one qualifies for the $3,750. So the cheapest is only half, where all the other models actually qualify for the full $7,500 because Tesla is sourcing all the materials themselves in Texas.
Okay, so in reality, then the Model 3 will be at this point the least expensive electric mass market sedan available. In
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
I mean, hopefully we'll see. I don't know, Jared. We've said this before. The BYDs out there in China are more expensive than the Teslas.
Huh.
I don't know that this mythical cheap Chinese EV is coming because they're not cheap over there. They're just they're just won't. So I don't know if we'll see that. I hope we'll see that. I think the more Tesla drops prices, and to John's point, the clickbaity title of yeah, I try.
Yeah.
I'm sorry it was a little clickbaity. I will try harder to make it much more clickbaity next time. Uh, yes, says Tesla did raise prices, but on the S and X, their top line, and then they added 3 years of free supercharging. So if you drive a lot and you want $100,000 car to drive a lot in,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that supercharging would help offset that increase. But I don't see right now. Yeah, Tesla's gonna end up being the only affordable EV. I mean, I don't see GM. I really don't think the Equinox and the Blazer are gonna quite hit the affordability market.
So if we look at this more closely and we think to ourselves, okay, the Bolt's going away, and the new EVs that are going to come out from the legacy manufacturers are all going to be in the 40s and above. Um, Basically, even for EVs, what they're all saying is there's only a small segment of society that we're really interested in selling new cars to.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, look, you just talked about it with Zach on your last show. Look, even the ICE vehicles, where's the base model? Where's the affordable? What are they selling? They're pumping out the highest trims, right?
yes,
And EV's not gonna. I don't see them really changing their mindset there. Look, GM and Ford, we talk about this all the time. They're not even producing EVs differently than they're producing ICE vehicles. They're trying to say take the same production line and just make it EV. So this is
yeah,
part of why they're losing so much money. Is that's not how you build an EV. You need to rethink how you manufacture. That's Tesla's advantage. That's the Chinese looked at Tesla and went, let's do that. That's their advantage. Toyota's building new factories for their EVs now to mimic that because you have to change the way you build these vehicles or you will lose money.
yes. And if it's not profitable, then what's the point in building it?
Yeah. I mean,
And
I guess you get cap and trade credits. You get,
yeah, but even if you look at like when we were looking at the tracks on the last
yeah,
show, in a city the size of Austin, Texas, which, if I'm not mistaken, happens to be the capital of Texas, probably is the most liberal city in Texas,
by
I would
far.
assume.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I've been there. It is.
yeah, so you would think that I don't know, you wouldn't need more than 32 of them available in any given month to
Yeah.
take care of demand that there might be for a vehicle like that in a more liberal city. But yet there were only 32 in comparison to the 2,700 pickup trucks that were available in that same market at the same time. It seems to me that pretty much all the manufacturers, whether it be for gasoline powered vehicles or plug-in hybrids or just battery electric, that they've all basically said we're going to abandon a large percentage of the American population that needs cars because it's just not profitable enough for us to build cars for them. I mean, that's what
Yeah,
I'm getting out of all this.
that's what
Whether
I
it be,
get too.
yeah,
And there was someone up here just mentioned, where are the $25,000 Toyotas and hybrids that people would sell. I mean, and I have that question too. Where are they? Because I see a Camry at the same price as I see a Model 3.
hmm
And it's just the way that is. And so I would at one point had looked up here. Toyota's new president is vowing to step up electrical vehicle push.
yeah,
They replaced Mr. Toyota with the former head of
yeah.
Lexus, who's all in on EVs, and he wants that. But well, at one point I would have said, great, here comes the competition. Here comes Toyota to price beat everybody, and here they come to really help drive down the prices. Now I kind of go, but are they going to? Or are they just going to be producing $50,000 EVs?
Well,
Is that going to be there? Because I don't see even the Corollas are almost as much as a Model 3.
I just, I don't, I see on the horizon basically two Americas. A small subset of Americans who can actually afford to buy new cars, a much smaller subset than it's ever been, but a big enough subset to sustain all the players out there, all the manufacturers out there. And then a much larger segment of society that can't buy a new car, even if they had a desire to buy a new car, because it's just so far out of reach. And for those people, even a quality used car will be difficult because those are priced so far out of reach.
Yeah.
I mean, we've always been a society of haves and have-nots, but I don't. I don't think we've ever had a divide as wide as it is today. And I believe that divide will get even wider moving forward based on some of the business plans that have come forth from some of these legacy manufacturers.
I I agree. I think yeah. There's always been, as John Edward said, two Americas. There that's just has sort of always been. I would have argued that there were three Americas, and what America had been great at for the longest time was the middle class was the
yes,
largest,
not
and
anymore.
that was what was great about America's. The middle class was the largest. Yes, you always had super rich and super
Yes,
poor, but the largest segment in America was the middle class. And ever since probably 2008 forward, that has been shrinking more and more and more. And if, in case you think I'm talking about your politician or against your politician, um, eh, you can't look at any politician and say that they've made it better. From Bush to Obama to Trump to Biden, nobody's making this better. So I'm not talking about your politician or my politician or this or that. Nobody's making this better. It just keeps getting worse and worse. And the middle class is shrinking more and more till we have this super rich who are doing really well. I just saw a news
yeah,
story today. Super rich are doing really, really well. They're doing great. Yacht sales are up like
wow,
17%. Yacht sales are up. Big luxury trucks sales up. But these affordable cars, well, no one can afford the interest rate on them. No one can afford the payment. No one can afford the car. They're all worried about losing their job. Jobs are going away every 5 seconds right now, especially if you're in the tech. And like here in California, I think we experience that more
sure.
than most. Like where everyone's cutting these jobs. What's going to happen? The haves and have-nots are growing, right?
I
For sure.
I remember, during the Great Recession, and my income took a big hit. Everybody's income did,
Yeah.
and I never, after the Great Recession, I never got back to where I was making as much or more as I had been making prior to the Great Recession. And many of us who, I felt I lived a middle class lifestyle, but I had a nice house, we had cars, we would try and go on a family vacation every year. But in reality, what I realized was that both my wife and I had to work to sustain this lifestyle. And realistically, what we were the working poor. you know, we,
Yeah, yeah,
we had we weren't really putting money away in savings. We were utilizing our money to sustain the lifestyle to which we had grown accustomed to, that we realistically could no longer afford. And I think many people found themselves in that same instance, in that almost a trap. They
yep,
kind of lure you in, okay, through all the advertising, through easy credit. We can get you into that house you've always wanted, we can get you into that car you've always wanted, and now you have all these monthly payments, and then suddenly there's a recession and your income drops by 40%, but you still have all those same obligations, and you want to maintain what you've accomplished so far, and realistically you can't. And that's, there are many people who still struggle to maintain that sort of lifestyle that they grew accustomed to, because I have friends from when I was in Arizona that still find themselves in that situation, and the gap is just getting harder and harder, wider and wider. The chasm is deeper and deeper. It's, and the rich have all the power, so it doesn't really matter.
yep. No, I mean, yeah, I fight this mentality all the time, Ray, because I do. You know me. I try to be a very hopeful person. No, I
Yes,
don't try. By nature, I am a very hopeful person.
yes,
I don't have to try for that. I just think, look,
yeah,
I've lived long enough. I've seen ups and downs and crashes and rebounds, and and I grew up at a great time to grow up where you get to be hopeful and you get to see prosperity, and so
yeah.
by nature I'm a very hopeful person, but I do have these moments where I'm just like, yeah, but we keep electing the same. Help me with the word that's YouTube safe here, Ray.
Um,
The same idiots. We'll go with idiots over
okay.
and over. I had lots of other words, but none of them could be said here. We keep electing the same people over and over and over, and they're not doing anything for us. They're not for the regular folks. They're good at ginning up division and hyperbole and getting people all riled up, and they go and riot, and again, not talking about any one side or the other, because you talk about January 6th, you talk about the riots the summer before. I don't care what side you're on. People are ginning you up. They're good at that, but they're not good at doing much other than spending money, and they're great at spending money. Here we are on the
Mhm.
debt ceiling again. And again, if you think I'm talking about one administration, the last administration was the highest in US history until this one. So please, like, there's no good guys out there. There's no one coming riding to the rescue here. And we just keep electing them over and over. Although I will say, I think both Obama and Trump were elected for the same reason, as they were outsiders. And we all thought, okay, let's get an outsider in there because we're sick and tired of this. Well, boy, did that not work for us in any way, shape, or form. So I don't, like, I get to the, like, what's going to happen. I know now we see the OEMs doing the same garbage of, like, okay, where are we going to start helping people?
I can help you with that. We're not. Okay. Um, we're not. And the only reason I say that is politics isn't really set up to help people. Politics is set up to help those who are elected.
Yep.
Because the most amazing thing is, and I'm not real good at math, but if you look at the net worth of people when they first get elected to
Oh,
Congress,
that's
okay,
gross,
and
Ray.
then you look at their net worth after they leave public service, and how much we, the American people, paid them for their service. There's no way that that number could have grown to what it has grown to. So the sad reality is that people in power like to be in power because it empowers them to make more money than the rest of us. And it plays into the fact that most people are really just looking out for themselves. And then, if I may say one other thing, once you get elected to Congress or the Senate, whatever it is, the first order of business once you've been elected is how to get reelected.
Yes.
Okay. It's not actually living up to any of your campaign promises. It's, well, how do I keep this damn job? Okay. And how do I continue to raise money so that I can campaign to keep this damn job?
Yeah.
And part of your responsibility, whether you're in the Democratic Party or the Republican Party as an elected official, is you are expected to spend a certain amount of your time every week helping raise money for the party. Okay.
Yep.
And it's not you're expected to spend a certain amount of time in your week helping the American people that you got elected to serve. It's you need to spend a certain amount of your week to raise money. So the whole concept of somebody coming in to save us, no, they're in there to save themselves. They don't really give a damn about us. They only care about how much it's going to impact their future and their incomes. I mean,
I think there are politicians that get into it because they want to help, but you get into that circle. Well, I think you get into that circle right in Washington.
Yes.
And when you get surrounded by that and everybody is like that, right? That's how this all, and then you stop seeing reality again.
Yes.
And it just becomes, well, this is how things are done. And then it doesn't take long for you to get into line of, well, this is how things are done. And look, I can make more money than I ever have in my life. And
yes.
and if I'm wealthy and I don't have to worry about that, I can help more people. Let's just give them benefit of the doubt that goes through their mind. And then I can help more people because I don't have to worry and I can do that. And then they get sucked into this rabbit hole. And then you end up just like everybody else. Or you get in there and you try to make a difference, and they are not going to let that happen.
They are not.
They will not let that happen. I mean, that's for sure. So you end up in this spiral, and I don't see, there's a group out there, and I don't remember their name. I'm not going to push them, even if I did. That is trying to solve some of this. We got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. now running for president, right? And what's his big one? Let's separate politics and corporations again. When was the last time you heard that, Ray, from either of the sides?
But even he doesn't mean it.
I mean, he's a Kennedy, so like, okay, but I mean, it's been a long time since I've even heard it from people because, on the left you got the tech sector, on the right you got, I don't know what, big oil. Wall Street goes to whoever's in power.
Yeah,
they don't care. But you got the fact that everyone has their billions and trillions flowing in, from whatever corporation, and it kind of seems like that's what we are. I had at one point said America should be run like a corporation, but I did not mean run by corporations. There's a big difference between run like, where you have accountability and you have to balance your books and you have to be held accountable, and being run by corporations who just want you to print money and give it to them, or to stay out of their way so they can do whatever shady thing that they want to do. And this goes to I'm getting there. I am tying this in.
Yeah, yeah.
This it gets
Hopefully you
into
don't hear all the banging going on here, but they're working on my neighbor's apartment. I do apologize.
But this gets back into how did these EVs get started in the first place? A lot of people criticize Tesla for having taken so much money from the government to get into this. As I point out all the time, I think you'd all be very surprised to know how much the OEMs take every single year from the government on their ICE vehicles, how much the oil industry, well, you probably won't be surprised at that, but how much the oil industry is taken. So, everyone's taking the government money, everyone's lined up, and I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, what you're talking about. That's the way it is. Are these guys digging for money over there, Ray? Is that what's happening in this store?
I hope they find some. They are taking up the the marble floor in my neighbor's apartment so that they can replace it with a hardwood floor. And even though there is a wall between my apartment and their apartment, you get the sense that there really isn't, because it is so loud in here from them. But they were kind enough to take a lunch break from 12 to 1. But
until 1:10. I mean, they give you a little extra time.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Thank you for them for that. Michael says Ford is getting $1 billion tax breaks for the battery plant in Michigan.
Oh yeah, multi-billions.
Ford has gotten many, many, many millions of dollars every single year from the government. All OEMs have, all domestic OEMs have.
Can I answer T 455's question? Why would anyone ditch a marble floor for a wood floor? I don't know. You get tired of it. It's like, you bought somebody's old apartment, and when you bought it, you say, yeah, it's nice, and then you go, okay, now I want to put my touch on it. And so they've been working on this apartment all winter and spring. And thankfully, they must be done by Memorial Day weekend. That's condo association rules. But it does make for sometimes unpleasant weeks here at the condo when they're working, because it's as if they're in my apartment.
Yeah. I will say, Ray, while we can hear it, I know it's a lot louder for you than it is for us. So
it's loud.
Even in my headphones, it's not that loud. Like, I can hear it. We know it's there, but it's not super loud on this side.
Yeah.
I would have to say too, if they didn't heat that marble floor, that would be probably a motivation for me.
Yes.
In the wintertime of getting wood over that.
No, I'm sure it'll be lovely when it's done.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not your apartment, so you don't care either way.
Well, I do care, because I don't want to listen to it anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't care if it's lovely. You just want them to hurry up and be done.
I just want them to be done. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are correct about that. I don't care if it's lovely.
Yeah.
But I just want it to be done.
Yeah. All right. So I just want to touch on one more thing before we go, because we will let you go, and it's a good reason to end the show anyway. Where was it? Here we go. Speaking, because this ties into what we're talking about.
Yes.
Speaking of government money, New Jersey, which I believe you are familiar with,
is
the first state to cut off EV incentives, because they ran out of money because it was so popular. And instead of, and this blew me away, instead of running out of money and going, we'll just refund it and give more, New Jersey said, hey, we ran out of money. We're done with this program.
Well, that's an interesting concept that maybe they should learn across all governments. That when you don't have money, you don't spend it. I will share one quick story with you. I remember back in the 80s during the Reagan administration, and that was the first that I really paid attention to, like federal deficits and things like that. And their big thing was trickle down economics and deficit spending. And my wife used to complain to me about, she said, well, Ray, it seems like we're spending more every month than we're taking in. And I said, hey, damn it, sweetie, if it's good enough for the government, it's good enough for us. So, and I can tell you that's not really a good way to live, because I can't print more money where the government can. So, yeah.
I will say, apparently, a lot of people near you say,
Yeah.
it's normal. That's normal. So, I'm out of touch here in California, where the closest thing to immortality you'll ever see is a government bill. They never end. They never end. If you run out of money, don't worry. They'll pump
Yeah.
more into it.
Yes.
So, like, I don't see these things. I don't see our government ever going, hey, we ran out of money, we're going to stop spending. That
Yeah.
has, in my entire lifetime in this state, that has never happened.
It's that old joke, well, I keep writing checks because I still have some. Doesn't mean you have the
Yeah,
money.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
that's the way we do it over here.
Yes.
So I was just happy to see that, and more places are considering ending the EV incentives because the sales are doing so well, and which is great. California, by the way, just now we have 21% of our vehicles sold are EVs.
Yeah.
This
Which is
last
pretty
month. So,
staggering when you think about it.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's huge. So the US has 3.6 million EV sales so far this year, and 1.5 have been in California.
Wow.
So,
Well,
yeah, we account for 40% of all the EVs sold in America. So you can say EV adoption is up, but mostly just in California. So,
well, apparently
good or
you
bad.
kids know how to do it there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost like our weather is perfect for EVs, and we have infrastructure, right? Because we have 87,000 charging stations. Sorry,
Wow.
87,707 charging stations in our state. So it's a
Well,
little,
yeah,
it's a
that
little,
makes life easier.
yeah.
That does.
63 hydrogen stations.
Mm.
I mean, we're a really big state. That's not very much. We also have 1,369 EV buses that run
Wow.
around our state, 268 EV delivery vans, 306 heavy duty EVs. So, and we have 115 different model EVs.
Wow. Well,
So,
I don't have any EVs, but I am taking my Mini in for its annual low mileage oil service this weekend, and I'll certainly take a look at the Mini Electric if they have it at
yeah,
the dealership where I'm taking the car.
you should film a little test drive.
Well, I don't know if they have one for me to test drive, but maybe I'll look.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, but I'm not coming home in a different car.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Just not. Yeah. I can't take much more of the tapping going on.
All right. We will end for today anyway. We're actually at our time anyway. So we did a whole show.
Look
so
at
that
us.
works out.
Yeah.
And then we will be back tomorrow. It looks like I may be on with you on the other show tomorrow too. I don't know. We'll see.
Perhaps yeah, sure. I have no idea.
I got an invitation with nothing other than an invitation. So
well,
see.
Then I guess it's you tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll see. And then we'll be back here tomorrow to talk about probably what we were supposed to talk about today, which are some of all the other subjects. And then just a heads up, I will be out on Friday. So you will be doing the news with Justin on your own.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to it. Everybody's doing something different this week.
Yeah. Well, last week and this week, so we're just mixing it up around here at CarEdge.
Yes, and thank you again for filling in last week so that we could enjoy our time away.
It was my pleasure to fill in for you. Very glad you're back. I know all the viewers are glad you're back. It's the Ray and Zach show, and I was reminded of that every day. It's not the Justice show; it's the Ray and Zach show. Actually, almost all our members were great, so it was fun to be there. But we are very happy to have you back.
We're happy to be back, and we'll be back here again tomorrow at 12:45 p.m. Eastern, or 9:45 in your neck of the woods. I do.
Yes,
believe.
9:45 a.m. California time.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we'll
terrific.
see everybody tomorrow.
Thank you, Justice.
Thank you, Ray.